Dutch integration exam. Okay. How often should you complain about the weather? Once per season, once per month. It's always a good idea. D. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be checking out a video called Why Do the Dutch Complain So Much by the channel David Wynn. You can find the links to the original video down in that description section as always. And yeah, it's been a little bit since I've done a Netherlands reaction. So here we are. We're doing another Netherlands reaction. One of my favorite countries. I'd like to move there one day. Definitely would love to visit it in the meantime, but you know, can't do that right now. So I'm gonna learn about it on these videos. Make sure you go check out the original channel. Like I said, the links will be down there, and we're gonna find out why do the Dutch complain so much. Actually, first of all, let me show you this thumbnail. It says Dutchies best complainers. Life of Ryan. Not Fast, Not Furious, don't know who they are. The Tourist, we know who that is. The infamous tourist from Argentina, Spain. I don't know. I've seen in the comment section different things. I didn't really look at her channel, but she's from Spain, Portugal, Argentina, Brazil, somewhere. It's one of the Latin American countries. And then you got Taxman. I don't know who Taxman is either, but we're going to find out, I'm assuming, in these videos, or in this video here. This one here, though, that's actually my most viewed reaction video that I've done so far was the reaction to her video on the Netherlands is the worst country in Europe, and here's why. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to find out who these people are and possibly go venture over to their channels and react to their videos complaining about the Netherlands, perhaps. Don't know for sure, but that's a good possibility. So anyways, we're going to find out why they complain so much. But honestly, I think everybody complains. I complain. You probably complain. This guy here probably complains. David Wynn, I'm assuming who he is. That I can't talk, right? I'm assuming that's who that is because that's the channel that we're about to react to. So anyways, let's check it out.
There's nothing more Dutch than to complain about the weather.
Takken weer.
Het regent pijpen stelen.
Rot weer.
Kut weer.
Or the trains.
Yep. The trains are
Door een aanrijding met een persoon, weersomstandigheden, defecte trein, staking.
late again.
It's a beautiful winter day today. Sunshine, blue skies. But it's way too cold. It's -4. How do you expect me to cycle in this weather?
You know, I complain a lot too, though. It's probably one of the things I do the most.
I'm gonna go back inside.
It's that time of the year again. When the country gets together to complain together.
What did that say?
When the country
Some says I should make some not so positive videos about Dutch culture. Okay.
gets together to complain together.
As a native Dutch person, I like to complain myself as well.
It's the perfect storm for complaints. Crappy weather. Public
Jeez.
transport disruptions.
Beste reizigers.
Because
It says you can cycle instead. Was that the actual translation, guys? Let me know. But also, it's kind of interesting about the train because they're supposed to have like some of the most on-time trains in the world, I hear. So for those trains to be late is abnormal, I guess. So I'd be complaining too. Like, what in the world's going on, you know?
it seems like every other day I see and I hear about a complaint about the NS trains. You see, the Dutch, they love to complain about their complaining.
That's really true. We love to complain. It's just complaining because of complaining.
Now, I was taught to not complain, but I've had to really change my mind since coming here to really integrate with the Dutch.
He's changed his mind. He became a complainer. Dutch integration exam. Okay. How often should you complain about the weather? Once per season, once per month. It's always a good idea. D.
And you know what? I've learned that complaining isn't all that bad. There's an art and science to complaining.
Okay. That's Anchorman, ain't it? Is that the movie Anchorman? Will Ferrell?
So in this video, we'll explore why the Dutch complain, the pros and cons to the Dutch art of complaining. And what if I told you this crazy hypothesis? That complaining may be a reason why the Dutch are so happy. And in some
Okay.
online forums, the Dutch are going neck to neck with the French as the biggest complainers in the world.
Okay, so the Frenchmen are complaining a lot too. Okay, good to know. Never knew that, but now I know.
It's also strange because the Netherlands is one of the happiest countries in the world with one of the best standards of living.
Nice.
What is there to really complain about, and why do the Dutch complain?
Well, now if you have somebody from another country that goes there, right, and then the increase of happiness and not cost of living, standards of living, right? You wouldn't complain so much. But if that's what you're used to and that's all you know, then of course that's your baseline. So you would definitely be complaining about some stuff. Whereas somebody that comes from a worse off country goes there and then increases their standard of living, then of course they wouldn't have anything to complain about. Or the mindset of like an American that sees the good infrastructure and all the good stuff in the Netherlands, I wouldn't be complaining because it's like, hey, this is an increase in my quality of living, right? But like I said, if that's your baseline, then it makes sense because that's all I know.
Weather is of course a favorite topic. Politics, local or national.
It's the cold, the rain, and the hot summers. A service in bars, restaurant that is considered at a really, really low level. As the Dutch people, they don't tip anyway because we're not that big tippers.
Okay, so what I do know is that humans have a need for certainty. And when things like the weather, the NS trains, the housing market are so unpredictable, there's a human need to make things a bit more predictable. So there's
Okay.
one thing in Dutch society that Dutch people can count on, and that's complaining. I mean, who wouldn't when it's like this?
Summer's here and we got some strange weather, but hey, it's the Netherlands. We got highs of 41 on Monday, it's gonna be warm. And on Tuesday, it's gonna be cold because we got snow. And then on Wednesday, stay at home because we got a storm coming.
I'm kind of. This makes me feel like it's northern Indiana weather because that's the kind of weather we get around here. Oh my god! That's crazy. Oh wow.
But do the Dutch actually complain a whole lot more than other cultures? Now, I'm not so sure about that, but on the outside, it does seem like the Dutch complain more than other cultures. And I think a big reason why is due to cultural differences. And by that, I mean communication, Dutch directness. Because the Dutch are one of the most direct people in the world. The way that they communicate is honestly, directly, and openly. And when it comes to criticism or complaining, the Dutch do it also openly, directly, and honestly. There was a story I read about a Dutch person who studied in the US. She had a great time, but the only thing that bothered me was that Americans, they never complained to my face.
It's because we're just trying to be nice. Because everybody's snowflakes, so it's like everybody gets butthurt about the simplest things, and it's like you gotta like walk on eggshells. It seems like because everybody throws a big hissy fit if you say the wrong thing, and it's like sometimes it's easier just to let it go.
She was confused because whenever her roommates had a problem, they would text her instead of directly confronting her. Some cultures are taught not to complain or to confront people. Another example, in Asian cultures, we're taught not to confront other people in public to save face. We're also taught not to confront our elders too. And because there isn't much hierarchy in the Netherlands, people can say anything to anyone without bad things happening to them. It's also how decisions are made in the Netherlands through consensus or through the group. This involves getting input from everyone, and that could include criticism or complaining, and the goal is hopefully that criticism will be used to make a better decision. And perhaps that's one reason why things work so well here in the Netherlands. If there's a problem, people won't stay silent. If you complain, there's a chance that you can fix it and make it better. So I do think one big reason that the Dutch have this stereotype of complaining is not that they complain more than other cultures. Every culture complains. Some cultures will do it behind your back, but the Dutch, they'll do it in front of your face.
Which I appreciate more because it's like honesty is the best policy. You know what I mean?
Now, I was talking to a Dutch friend who told me that the Dutch tend to be more pessimistic compared to other cultures like Americans who can be overly optimistic about their personal lives.
I'm not overly optimistic or pessimistic. I feel like I'm just, right down the middle. What do we got here? Things in the Netherlands are going in the wrong direction. Oh, okay, so this is their input, right? Oh, so light blue is more recent. For most people, life's getting worse rather than better. Yeah. Disagreement swift, the future looks hopeful. Okay, so they're getting more pessimistic. I think that's just society in general, though, like just the modern world.
For example, if we look at national surveys, we can see that many Dutch people think the country is going in the wrong direction, and they think their lives are also getting worse as well.
I think that applies to America as well, to be honest with you.
Now, I don't know how true this is, but first let me talk about the negatives of pessimism and complaining according to science. Those who are pessimistic and complain more tend to have more stress, less resilience, and they tend to affect others and make others more negative as well. Now, I'm definitely not saying that people are overly pessimistic. I just want to state the negative impacts of being too pessimistic. But pessimism could also be used to lower expectations. Because when you lower expectations, there's a higher chance that you become happier. And according to research, there's actually something called defensive pessimism. That pessimism
Strategy to set low expectations to prepare for worst case scenarios. Well, there's a saying that's what is it? Expect the worst, hope for the best, something like that. Or if you set your standards low, you won't be disappointed, right? Complaint, crap weather, delayed trains, bad service. Okay, action, leave earlier, think of alternative routes, never expect good service. Result, you're on time, less stress, pure happiness when you get good service. Yeah, that is very true.
And according to research, there's actually something called defensive pessimism. That pessimism could be used strategically in situations where you don't have much control to help you prepare for worst case scenarios. The lesson is too much pessimism is not good, but it can be used for good in certain scenarios.
Yeah.
Social bonding.
It's always nice if you complain, somebody else feels the same. When you don't know what to talk about, The weather is always perfect because you know that everybody else agrees with you.
When you do this with other people, I think you both get less grumpy.
Okay,
Venting, right? Relieving that stress. That's what it's all about, guys. And, a lot of times people bond over common enemies, right? So the weather, for instance, if you both dislike it, you would bond over that dislike, right?
Complaining can be toxic, but it can actually be a smart thing to do when you complain with other people about things such as the weather. According to a New York Times article based on the science of complaining, complaining can actually be a useful tool to bond with others and to release negative emotions. And did someone say a free form of therapy as well?
We have an expression in Dutch which says the hart op de tong. You have your heart in your mouth, which means that you express your feelings directly. If you bottle up, you're just gonna walk around and stay grumpy. While if you express yourself, then your emotions get a lot less. It's basically...
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, you got to vent. Because if, like a volcano, if it doesn't vent, well, it'll bottle it up and explode.
a very straightforward form of therapy. Social therapy without the cost of going to see a therapist. Yeah.
Now that's a really great point that I didn't think about, that complaining could actually be a free form of therapy. And the Dutch, they love free stuff. And it's normal
I do too.
a free form of therapy. And the Dutch, they love free stuff. And
Well, since you Dutchies love free stuff, guess what? It's free to subscribe to this channel and hit like, so you should do that.
it's normal to have these negative feelings, emotions. We're human, especially during the winter time. But what's dangerous and toxic is when we bottle up these emotions inside and they have no place to go. So that Dutch directness or complaining can actually be very emotionally beneficial for our well-being.
So how can we
Yeah.
complain like the Dutch?
Het eten is koud.
That means the food is cold. And then okay, so Het spijt me maar is saying like, I'm sorry, but, right? And then the food is cold. I can't tell what the bottom one says. Her hand's kind of in the way. This was Alice Narwens. I don't know what that means. Alice is like everything or all of it, right?
The food is cold. This is a common problem, so it's good to remember.
What do you think?
Actually, I don't like chicken. I just don't think the chicken goes well with the spinach.
At every opportunity, complain about the weather.
Weer, teringweer, klerenweer, klotenweer, kutweer, flutweer, rukweer, rotweer, pisweer, pleurisweer, poepweer, pestweer, scheidweer, strontweer, kakweer.
Ezel. Hey Gunther, you're an ezel.
But
Hazel. Hold on.
Hey Gunther, you're an ezel.
Donkey, dumb person. Okay. It says you may not want to use this one. Oh, I'm sorry.
But just make sure
Oh,
you
her.
don't complain like this lady.
The fact that they constantly said, hello, hello, it annoyed me so much, and I didn't like it at all. Most people spoke Dutch, which is a very hard language to learn.
Yeah, right there. So I still cannot tell if this is a real or joke. I'm kind of on the fence about that too. Like, part of me feels like she's serious, and part of me feels like it's definitely a joke.
Some people also spoke English as a secondary language, but it was broken English.
So what have I learned? That complaining can be bad, but it's perfectly fine and sometimes even advisable to complain in the Netherlands, especially about the weather or the train, but to do so in moderation because it can be toxic for our well-being. The human mind is trained to focus on the negatives, but what happens when we focus on what's good about our lives? All the good things about Dutch culture and society.
And hey, there's a part of me that thinks the Dutch, they complain because unlike Americans who tend to be overly optimistic, they are maybe more cautiously optimistic that things can't be that great or perfect. There's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
And the complaining is used to balance out all the good stuff.
And I do finally get it. Complaining is a way to socially bond and to connect with other people. So what are you complaining about today? Let me know in the comments below. And I think I'm finally integrated.
Let me know in the comments down below, guys. What are your complaints about this video? What is your complaints about my channel? About me, right? About the weather? Whatever you want to do. Just get that comment section going, guys. And yeah. You guys have a super fun, awesome day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.